Israel has nuclear weapons and the strongest air force in the region, but in reality, Israel is weaker than a spider's web. Those words uttered by Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah after Israeli forces retreated from the Lebanese security zone in the year 2000 after 18 years of war, demonstrating Nasrallah's belief that Israeli society is tired of wars and lacks the strength and resilience to withstand conflict and casualties. Hezbollah tested this hypothesis in July 2006 by attacking an IDF convoy on the border, killing 5 soldiers and snatching the bodies of 2. Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert declared it an act of war, and Israel responded accordingly. The fighting lasted for over a month inside Lebanese territory, where Hezbollah registered some successes against the IDF.
The Israeli armor and infantry, they confront us with anti-tank missiles, Russian-made.
121 Israeli soldiers were killed. Hezbollah casualties were at least 5 times higher, according to IDF estimates. Hezbollah also shelled Israeli towns in the north, killing 44 civilians. Its missile capabilities a hovering threat ever since.
Hezbollah has developed its missile arm from 10,000 at the time that they had in 2006. Today we're talking about more than 140,000 missiles. And what is more worrying in Israel is the fact that part of those missiles are very precision-guided missiles.
A threat Hassan Nasrallah makes sure to periodically remind Israel.
It knows that the issue of the precision missile has not been stopped and will not stop. It is developing in its quantity, quality, and in numbers.
But after the huge hit Hezbollah took in the war, it hasn't dared launch such missiles at Israel, and only once succeeded in killing Israeli soldiers, 2 of them, in a 2015 strike against an IDF convoy. Israel, meanwhile, has in recent years conducted many airstrikes against Iranian-backed weapons convoys in Syria en route to Lebanon. Hezbollah resources remain bogged down in Syria and at home in Lebanon, which is in shambles, making operations against Israel less likely in the immediate future. But that doesn't mean Nasrallah has given up on exporting the battle into Israeli territory with the support of patrons Iran and other Israeli enemies.
The equation that we must reach as Jerusalem means a regional war. Jerusalem means a regional war.
Hezbollah, in addition to a possible missile salvo, is planning a cross-border operation to seize Israeli communities in the north. Israel has not been idle either, exposing 6 cross-border tunnels built for precisely such purposes.
Of course, the IDF has developed new weapons and new ways to combat Hezbollah. And I believe that in the next confrontation, Hezbollah might be surprised with a lot of new innovations.
A deceptive quiet on the northern border, preparations on either side of it for a future conflict to come, a question of not if, but when.